All right, we're going to get started. Are you excited? We're going to talk about people and talent and workforce. So it's going to be a fun conversation. Today we're going to get real. And we're going to talk about the reality of what's going on right now in our industry when it comes to people. First, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Carrie Charles. I am the CEO and co-founder of Broadstaff. Broadstaff is a talent solutions firm, staffing firm that specializes in the digital infrastructure space. I'm also the host of a podcast called Let's Get Digital, again, a digital infrastructure podcast. And I have with me today Elia McLeave and Nabeel Mahmood. Did I do it?
You did it. Brilliant.
So please introduce yourselves.
Hi, everybody. Elia McLeave. I'm the founder and the CEO of the company called Innovorg. Innovorg is a workforce intelligence solution that has been built for the digital infrastructure space. We basically help companies to deal with the ever-evolving skills shortages, addressing those skill shortages, and also making sure nobody in the workforce is left behind as the industry evolves and the expectations grow.
Brilliant. Nabeel Mahmood, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Nomad Futurist in partnership with my best mate, Phil Cobbins, who's sitting back there. Nomad Futurist is a philanthropy effort. We started roughly about 3 years ago with the idea of demystifying technology for the masses globally whilst addressing the human capital deficit. As you have heard over the last day and a half, we've got a major deficit as it stands today. Roughly about 300,000 plus jobs need to be fulfilled in the data infrastructure space. And 80% of the existing workforce is on their way out over the next 3 to 5 years. So we're trying to address that deficit. There are several things that we're working on. I'm a big believer in muscle memory. You do right things for the right reasons. You educate, expose early on in people's life. They will do right things eventually. We have been at this journey for roughly about 3 years ago. We launched an online academy earlier this year. That's a free resource to anybody globally. We have tried internships last year. We're going to be expanding on this year as well. And other than that, we're working on scholarships. We are going to be launching an incubator as well over the next few years. So there's a lot that needs to be addressed as we get into the skill shortage and all the tech that's in our space. So that's my philanthropy piece, or my give back to the sector. My real job is I serve on a few boards for companies that are either publicly traded or privately held in finance and in data centers and in AI space.
So it's going to look a little different. It's not like I'm the moderator and here's the panelist. So it's a bit of a, I guess, like we're having a glass of wine or what, tequila, vodka, what do you like? We're just hanging out, talking, and that's what it's going to look like. I am going to be asking the questions, but we're all going to be commenting. So the first thing we want to do is look at where we are today, and where are we going? So what's going on? What's the current state of this workforce?
Well, from my perspective, right now we're in an extremely pivotal state when it comes to the workforce. In addition to, of course, the workforce being retired and the huge shortage of labor right now in the market, there is also, with the evolution of AI, technology is changing, a lot of automation, systematization happening. So expectations for this workforce are evolving, and that definitely puts a lot of pressure on the organizations and the employees to keep up with the changes that are happening at the moment, right? So I think the culture and element of continuous development and learning is the key element, really, as we look into the future of this industry in the upcoming few years. And that's exactly where we basically play, and what we focus on is development of the talent.
Yeah, I concur. I'm going to peel it just a hair. Have you guys seen the movie Office Space? Winston is actually now in the corner office. He's not sitting under a stairwell looking for his bloody stapler. He's moved up in the ranks. He is at the board table talking about the future of an organization, of a country, of civilization. We are no longer the necessary evil that we have grown up to be over the last 4.5, 5 decades of compute. We are the future as it stands today. I mean, it's been certainly a very interesting journey. I remember that I was always a cost center on every P&L, every organization that I've been a part of, to now being a profit center. So things have changed significantly. With that, there comes a lot of challenges as well. I mean, we have not been able to voice what and where we are headed. We have been the best kept secret. We talk about building a prison-like building to be intellectual property. Our narrative has been awful. And we are right at that chasm that if we don't change the narrative, if we do not put back into our communities, if we do not redefine education, this thing is going to shatter. This bubble is going to burst. And we need to take those corrective actions today. Now, what is the future? Well, if I had the magic ball, I wouldn't be sitting over here. However, this is the beginning of time. Over the last 15 years, I've been talking about digital transformation. We've got skill up, scale up, got to put the right technologies in place. Email is not the only technology that's going to be there. Artificial intelligence existed before it became artificial intelligence. Machine learning existed before it became machine learning. IoT, big data, so on and so forth existed before they became the buzzwords. It's been there, but it's been streamlined over the last 3 to 5 years. Now we're in every news media. Every investor is looking at data and data centers to be a major part of the equation. The conventional utilities and oil and gas are not the top 10 on any stock exchange around the world. It's a data-related company. Okay? That's the future. With what's happening around the world, information available at your fingertips. So if you look at it today, roughly about 2 gigabytes per month is an average use per user around the world for people that are online. Within the next 5 years, that usage and that compute is going to be roughly about 200 gigabytes per user per month. By 2050, that's roughly about 2 petabytes. Do the math. This is the beginning of time. We're talking brain-computer interfaces. We're talking space exploration. We're talking about building data centers in Mars and in space, right? We're talking about changing lives whereby leveraging artificial intelligence and AGI to do surgeries 10,000 miles away. That's just the beginning of time. Technology is going to get deeper and deeper into our lives, and it's going to give us a quality life, hopefully. But along with that, a lot of challenges come in. We are not investing in human capital. We are not asking the right questions. So you hear about social accord, you hear about the climate accord, carbon neutrality, so on and so forth. Those are things that have become sort of like a checkbox, whereas it needs to be foundational to any organization strategy. But most importantly, what I believe in is that without humans, without the right talent, without right education and exposure, it's all going to shatter. So we have to go back to our roots, to the foundation, and invest into our people. So though they might not come into this space, they should be asking the right questions, and they should be defining the right policies, or at least probing us that we do so.
So I'll give you a day in the life of a digital infrastructure staffing firm. And this leads me to the problems that we're facing right now. So we get a call. I need X amount of people in X market tomorrow afternoon, next week, next month, in 3 months. And it's a problem. Like, why didn't you think of that 6 months ago? Why didn't you think of that a year ago? Why are you scrambling? Is this not a priority for you? Right? Those are all the things I want to say. I'm not saying it, obviously, because it's rude. But in my mind, I'm thinking it, that we have to make it a priority. And leaders, companies are not, because they have so many other things that are a priority, right? Like power, and it's overwhelming, the challenges that we're facing. But this issue with people is going to be the silent killer of our industry if we don't wake up and take it serious now. And we're going to talk about ways that we can do that. And that's really where we're going. The future looks bleak. It really does. I mean, we're not here to, paint a pretty picture, because if we keep going like we're going now, then nothing's going to get built. Even if we have all the power, nothing's going to get built. So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about people and AI. what are people going to do when AI starts, actually they're already replacing them. I think I read 13.7% of US workers say they've already lost a job to AI and automation, but I'm sure this is going to happen more and more. So what are people going to do?
Well, I'll take the first stab at it. The town whisperer does not have a job because all of you are town whisperers. You are on Meta, you are on Twitter, you are on every social media platform, you are journalists. Okay? Jobs come, they go. So when it comes to the idea and this whole narrative that AI is replacing all the jobs, that humans not going to have a job tomorrow, is the definition of idiocracy. As many jobs that are being eliminated, twice as many jobs are being created. So human capital is going to be a major need, no matter what. I mean, we are going to be growing. Simple examples like, would you ever go back in time and sleep in a cave? No, you do want that Tempur-Pedic mattress. Who did that? Not robots. It was innovation, it was creativity that came from here, the human mind. Automation and robotics and AI is not just going to say, here's a formula, go build it. You still need the human intelligence, and there's no substitute for that. So as more of AI and machine learning and AGI come into play, though we might be taking over that conventional job, but we are actually creating a lot of other opportunities. For instance, did we actually talk about ever moving to space and putting data centers in space? No, that hasn't been a conversation, but I know of companies, I know of projects that are in research right now, that there are talks about fusion, there's talk about data centers in space, there's talks about data center in Mars, so that's going to happen. Who do we need? Who's going to do that? It's people, okay? Does it mean that we totally crush the medical industry because we can do surgeries leveraging robotics? Well, okay. You go back in time, yellow fever was what killed Spain. And then because of technology and people, we were able to address partially COVID-19. In less than 6 months, we came up with 3 drugs. Okay? Who did that? Not just computers, a lot of people behind it. So as many jobs might potentially be eliminated, twice as many opportunities are going to be created. We just have to think a little bit differently. So computer science back in the day was like a big thing. Okay? It's going to be equally important as we move forward, but the most important thing would be the ability to communicate, the ability to write, the ability to put words whereby ChatGPT can translate that and give you an output of what you're really trying to ask and what you're really trying to produce.
What we are noticing, as you know, we work with a large number of data center providers and kind of primarily focus on operational teams, and the trends that we're seeing with AI and automation systematization is the expectations for the employees are changing. So let's say we were just talking with Carrie yesterday about that. We started the skills catalogs of the average role in the data center company, 50, 60 skills per role. Right now we're running 150 skills per role. What does it tell you? The expectations, requirements at individual level are growing tremendously. That puts definitely a lot of pressure on the employees. Requirements on the productivity, performance, the quality are ramping up rapidly. So with the evolution of technology, there's definitely that human factor that puts a lot of pressure on individuals where they need to keep up with all of the tools, all of the systems, right? And I think that puts a lot of things in perspective as well, right, from operational perspective. Our industry, I've been part of the data center sector now for over 20 years. I don't see us crushing and burning at any point of time. We've been resilient, right? And I could tell you also from a talent perspective, people perspective, we still have a long way to go. We've never really been a people-oriented industry per se, because I come from level 1 engineering and up. So I know we will survive, we will persevere. I think a lot of it is just how will we show up. Like in what shape? How well prepared will we be? And of course, there's that gap of the workforce where we need to welcome the new generation into the industry, and that's exactly what Nomad Futurist also is focused on quite a bit. And I know Carrie is working on that as well, recruiting younger generation. A lot of people don't even know about our industry. I mean, most of us here, I'm sure, in the room kind of fell into it accidentally, right? And that's where I think a lot of work needs to be done, 100%.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I'm going to expand on that just a little bit and say that there's going to be a transition period for us. And I agree with you, Nabeel, that there's going to be twice the number of jobs created. There's going to be all of this opportunity. But there is going to be this transition period that's going to be really uncomfortable for us. Really. And, some of us in this room are going to lose our jobs because of it. However, there'll be new jobs that we can move into. So what does that look like? It looks like upskilling and reskilling, but I always say don't depend on your company to do this for you. Do it yourself. Start looking at ways where you can become more valuable, even no matter what your seat is. If you are the CEO of a company, upskill. Learn more, learn about AI, take your skills to the next level. Because really, I don't think anyone's really safe from AI. I know that, you see articles about lists of jobs that, these jobs cannot be replaced by AI. We don't know. We really don't know the future. So what we do know and what we can take control of is our skills. Right? And I think that's what we all need to be responsible about. The next, did you have something else?
Yeah, so scaling up is actually the most important thing. I'm pretty sure, Jamie at Chase is actually thinking about the fact that he's going to be scaled out, that there might be a AGI. As a matter of fact, that was a statement he made last week. So it's going to happen. I mean, we're all replaceable. Okay, but we've got to put ourselves in that uncomfortable position and learn other trades, other attributes that add value to what we do, and how would that add value to a business, to an organization, to a nation.
So let's look at workforce development or intelligence tools like Innovorg. And, how do they add value? How are companies incorporating them? In fact, I know that many companies don't even have development and training programs. I think that's something like 60% of companies, last I read. So how are we using those, and how can we promote it?
The workforce development or workforce intelligence tools like Innovorg are quite groundbreaking at this point, because we are able to allow companies to have the live ongoing insights into their skills. They're able to see where their emerging skills are, what their skill gaps are, what they're lacking. They have real data that allows them to make decisions for the business when it comes to, let's say, hiring. Should they train up? Should they bring new talent? Should they focus on certain aspects of the business more, because this area of the skill, for example, is most impactful for the clients, right? So the skills get interconnected into every layer of really operations, starting from customer interactions to the performance KPIs to the hiring decisions and so on. And that allows you to really be able to fly and navigate without being blindsided, right, in the process. So I do see, I'm very passionate about the intelligence that we bring to the table. And I've been actually an operator myself for many years. I used to run everything post-sale for data center companies. And as a buyer at the time, I was looking for a tooling that could allow me to make the right decisions at the right time, because I was an SVP of a very large data center company at some point, and the business would come in and say, okay, Elia, you need to cut 20% of the cost, as an example, right? So how do you actually make those decisions intelligently without impacting customer experience and customer growth and the churn? Some of those decisions are very difficult to make without the data points, right? And that's one of the kind of drastic maybe examples, but there's a lot more, of course, from a hiring, promotion, career pathing perspective that the data allows you to do.
Just to add, I mean, and I totally concur with you. Just peeling the onion a bit here. 25 years ago, I got in this space. It was purely by an accident, and it was the ability to extract tribal knowledge from my peers and my mentors. That's how we have operated. We've kept it so close to our chest because we did not want to lose a job, because that was our intellectual property. That mindset needs to change, and that's one of the reasons that us being the youngest sector has not deployed education and training on a mass scale. The other challenge that we've got is that we think that we build a building, it's our IP. It's different. No, it's still brick and mortar. I mean, there's no rocket science there, okay? And you built a very ugly building. So a couple of great examples, like leveraging, what Elon Musk, and no, personal bias there, but we've got to learn from these other sub-verticals, like why Tesla became Tesla is because the fact that he's like, okay, here's my intellectual property and it's available to everybody, make it better. Okay? So let's open up our kimonos just a hair and talk to each other and share what we've got so we can make this sector better. Part of the challenge that I've also seen, having designed, built and operated data centers through the years, is the fact that people within that white space, from an electrical, mechanical, structural, networking perspective, they don't talk to each other. Yet we're supporting that critical compute. Okay? That's the nervous system of the organization. So that's got to be addressed. And how do we do that? So, shameless plug here for my nonprofit is that we are very keen to address this by horizontal and vertical learning streams. So you as an individual should know where is good dirt, how do you acquire that asset, how do you get through the local municipalities in permitting, how do you work the electrical, mechanical, structural, so on and so forth. So all these base layers foundationally, so you can speak intelligently with your peers whilst addressing common goals. And then from top down, those KPIs need to be defined whereby they are easy to interpret, right? So if the metric is net profitability, what does that entail, okay? And how is that going to break down to the finance person, to the architect, to the electrical mechanical person, to someone that's actually managing the technology stack or the application stack, that they get that KPI whereby whatever that might be, uptime, availability, sustainability, whatever that case might be, that they all speak the same language. So it becomes that Google Translate experience. And then also, culturally, we need to be a bit more vulnerable, open, and transparent across all domains within our organization and with our competitors as well, so we make each other better.
Yeah, and speaking of culture, we're going to shift now to attracting and sourcing young people. Because, when we're looking at the industry, we hear about it all the time. How do we bring young people into the industry? And I also believe, though, that the people that are getting displaced by AI, no matter what age, it's going to happen to a lot of people, that there's opportunity there as well to bring other people into the industry, but we have to be better about telling people about our industry. But let's stay in this area of young people. So I know just from, the work that I've done that the new generations, younger generations, they value purpose and mission and meaning. So how do we build cultures, and how do we as leaders make sure that we can attract and retain the younger generation because of those priorities? Sometimes young people even value mission over money, right?
I think if we look at the younger generation today, as you said, a lot is about the purpose and the mission, and it starts at the leadership level, really, when it comes to the organization. It has to be the buy-in at the very top of the org. To your initial question, that there might not even be educational programs in the companies. Yes, we actually work with some companies where we help them to build education services ground up completely, if they've never had them before. And there's a lot of conversations also operationally, should HR own it or should the business units own it, right? Where does the budget really lives? So I think there's some of the operational issues there as well, but at the end of the day, I think the leadership buy-in, that trickling down to the rest of the organization is extremely important. Allocation of the budget is important. I do believe the most effective, by the way, structures I've seen from education services perspective is when they are decentralized into organizational units. So that's been, and I've seen like various models, and I think for organizations that's the best approach. And I think it also, from a perspective of purpose and inspiration, as if the C-suite is continuously developing and learning, attending conferences, sharing what they've learned, what they know, right? That energy trickles down to the organization, and gradually the culture of learning is being built. We actually posted a really interesting blog a couple days ago about learning how to learn. That's another aspect, because we live in the world where attention span is just so short. We don't really have time for anything. I mean, we're just always on a run. One of the biggest actually issues in learning and development is just there's no time. So I think if that precedent is set and the company is deliberately scheduling the time for development, that makes a big difference, right? So where employees have the time to allocate for their development, and the C-suite, of course, setting the example with their actions and their learning journeys themselves.
Yeah, very well said. So we are a geriatric generation. We grew up on TV dinners. That's the unhealthiest thing ever done to human race. If you look at the current generation, they are all healthy. They're into organic foods. They want to know the source. They want to eat healthy. They want to take care of themselves. They're a lot smarter than we are. So looking down at them is not the right direction or the right approach. We need to learn from them. I've got a 16 and 18-year-old, okay? Besides the fact that they go to school, they take the time and initiative to learn on their own. And what we need to do as a sector, besides just driving this message down, top down, which is great, we need to unify. We need to get our voice louder. We need to have a narrative where we make data centers great again. Okay, that sounded too much like Donald Trump. We need to go out and speak their language. We need to actually show them what we are doing, what the future is, where we're heading, and get their voice to be a part of what we are trying to accomplish. Telling them is not going to do anything. They need to be a part of this equation. They need to be a part of this journey, because we are. And I don't want to be Karen or negative Nancy, whatever the thing is these days. We are equally responsible as much as they are. Okay? We've got to engage them early on. They know more than we know. They have the tools. They are digital natives. They're born with a bloody iPhone in their hand. They can zip through technology faster than we can. We are the ones that are developing it, and we don't even eat our own dog food. They know better. Let's learn from them. Let's engage them. Let's give them education. Let's expose this sector to them, and then we can design these policies and
Can I say amen
down.
right now? I just agree with everything you say.
I wanted to actually add, we should make the industry fun again, right? More fun, because I totally concur with what you're saying. I think the younger generation maybe also feels that the industry is that exciting of an industry, right? Is it interesting? Some people, I find the messages I get is like, it's too complex. Like, will I be able to survive in this sector? It's too much to learn, right? So some of those messages are there. I really love the message that Nabeel shared.
And I've got to ask for all of those here and those that are potentially going to see this. Go back home. Tell your kid what you do for a living. And if you can tell them in less than 2 minutes, you know what you're doing, and they're going to be excited. They're going to want to come to office with you. They're going to say, hey, do you mind taking me to a data center conference? As a matter of fact, as a data center conference or data infrastructure conference, we were at, Phil and I were at Open Compute last week, or this week. We took about 100 students out there. And there's going to be a video that's going to be published. I mean, Phil asked him a question like, so would you rather be in school or here? And there's this excitement. I mean, these kids are like, yeah, this thing is much cooler, much better, because I can see innovation happening right in front of me and I want to be a part of it. So we have to open our doors versus hiding behind and speaking bits and bytes and acting like engineers. No, let's build on the user experience. Let's build on what's needed and what they want.
Basically, make sure all your children join this industry, right? And you promote it to your family.
And then our problem is solved, right?
We own it to this sector. Let's make it happen. That's my plan for my son, by the way. He's joining this sector.
That's perfect. One thing on young people, and I used to have a company called Retention Partners where we helped companies attract, retain, and engage the younger generation. And you can, in order for them to feel like they have a mission and a purpose, you reward based on impact. Now, not only impact, because they have to be held accountable, and they do want to be held accountable, believe it or not, but they do. But reward, have some sort of reward based on impact, right? How many lives did you change this month? Oh, and you'll give an award to whatever is your measure of success and meaning and mission, then give an award like that to the employee. The other thing is a voice, and we were talking about that. Our young people want to have a voice. They don't want to run the company. And we have this idea that that's what they want, that they want to start running the company after being there for 3 months. And that's really not what it is, but they just want a voice. So have a place where they can contribute and they know their voice is heard. Actually, are we out of time? Boy, does it fly by. One more question. So if everyone in this room could do one thing individually to move the needle on this issue, what would it be?
Well, I've got a great answer for that. Give me 1%. Don't sit on the bloody sidelines and complain. Be a part of the movement. Do your part. If you want to make the change, be the change. And our foundation is actually a good starting point to be a part of it. Let's unify. Let's get this voice louder. Let's take corrective actions versus just talking about the vaporware that we sell to each other all day long and put band-aids thinking that we're actually fixing an issue, but we're creating this pus. This is deep. This is dangerous. This is going to burst soon. So don't sit on the sidelines. Be a part of the movement. Be the change.
Well, I think at individual level, I definitely would encourage everybody to continue learning, continue developing, and really spreading the word on things that you've learned, things that you've observed. And that really comes down to just even listening to a podcast. Carrie has an amazing podcast, by the way, Nomad Futurist as well. Definitely worth a listen. And reading a book, attending a conference, right? And then sharing some of those experiences with your teams. And then getting them excited to take on more time to actually allocate on learning and honing on more skills. Right, that's where it kind of starts at the individual level, but at the organizational level, I think it starts. I've been preaching that for many years, building a comprehensive skills catalog outside of even the systems, just making sure it's clear for the employees what the expectations are. That really makes a huge difference for any company.
We need to take responsibility. No matter what our role, we can't look at this as somebody else's problem. I can't make a difference. We can. So each and every one of us in this industry, in this room, if we mentored one person of any age, just one person, imagine the impact that would make in our future. Thank you so much for coming, and have a safe,
Thank you, everybody.
safe trip home.